Hey Dana, how's it going?
Good afternoon. I was going to say good morning. I feel like I've been up forever. Hi, how's it going?
Very good. How are you?
Doing good.
Good.
Hot in Florida.
Hot in Rhode Island, so I can only imagine. It's actually interesting how the heat affects inflammation, isn't it?
Yeah.
I definitely notice, certain things, affect me in a different way in the heat, in the humidity especially.
Yeah, absolutely. And like rain too. Like it rains here every day. It's rainy and it's hot and humid. And so it affects people for sure.
Yes. Yeah. So today what we're talking about in the last of our pain and inflammation series, which this was like the fastest month ever.
It did fly by. Yeah.
It did, didn't it? Yeah. So we're talking about autoimmune disease and chronic pain and inflammation, which is huge because when we talk about a lot of this chronic issues, a lot of people are being diagnosed with autoimmune disease, right?
Yeah.
So can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, I think the most common one that I don't know. I mean, I see it. I certainly see it, but I think one of the most common is chronic fatigue syndrome, which is kind of sort of categorized as an autoimmune, but not really. It's kind of more a syndrome because it's a multitude of symptoms and things like that. But yeah, I mean, it's very common. And it's basically, our body's overreacting, our immune systems are overreacting to something and then ultimately attacking itself. So it's kind of an overactive immune system, hyperactive immune system, and causes, for a lot of people pain, but a lot of times too, fatigue, low energy, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So in terms of like treatment, and maybe how, the perspective of Chinese medicine versus Western medicine, somebody who's experiencing something like that, or maybe is diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, how does that differ from your perspective?
So, I think for Oriental medicine, for TCM, what we look at again is kind of, I kind of feel like I say the same thing all the time, but it's true. We look at these etiologies and pathologies with any kind of disease, and we break it down kind of into categories of, again, we talked about stagnation of blood and energy and chi and body fluids and things like that. And then we talk about internal disease, things like kidney deficiency. And as we get older, we lose what's called kidney jing or kidney essence. And then that has kind of a domino effect on other internal organs, since we're looking at a whole network of things. So we really try to work on building the kidneys, building the kidney chi, the kidney jing, or the kidney essence. There's lots of different ways to describe kidney essence. Is kind of, what we're born with in terms of our vitality all lies in the kidneys in Chinese medicine. So as we get older, we kind of lose that. It declines a little bit, and we start to see things kind of, slow down, so to speak. And then, stagnation and lots of things can cause that. It can be trauma, drama, stress, anxiety is huge to weaken the immune system, which makes us more vulnerable to have, our immune systems not be able to work, for us, but sometimes actually work against us. And that's kind of what autoimmune disease is where your body is over responding to something and doing the opposite of what we need it to do, and kind of overreacting. That's kind of too what's happening with the coronavirus, to be honest. It's our bodies actually overreacting in a hyper vigilant way to the virus. So it's crazy when you think about it. It's like a cytokine storm happening in your body that people aren't actually, really getting severely ill from the virus, but it's your immune system that's responding to it. That's going like crazy.
Oh my God, 100%. I was just talking to somebody earlier about, being under a lot of stress and then feeling sick and then, wondering what it was. And then, realizing that it's stress, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's that we forget how much putting our bodies under that stress then affects our immune system. And yes, does make us more susceptible to things. And as we've been talking about throughout this series the fact that chronic pain is really a compounded effect of probably a lot of different things, not necessarily one thing, unless it's like one car accident that like really fucked your body up or whatever. But you know, it's like one specific isolated incident. Chances are it's not one specific thing.
For sure.
Yeah. So in terms of getting back to kind of like autoimmune disease and, you know, treatments and, you know, affecting different systems of the body and things like that, obviously it's the immune system is part of it, right? Autoimmune, duh, right? It's the immune system, like you said, kind of attacking itself sort of, or attacking your own body. What are some of the other systems of the body that you see kind of coming into play? Like if somebody's, you know, kind of working on that, what is, you know, what are some of the other things maybe that somebody with autoimmune needs to be cognizant of in their treatment plan?
Yeah, I mean, the number one thing, good question. The number one thing is always the gut. You knew I was going to say that.
I did.
We're like, go gut. We're like, woo, go gut. So it's 100% hands down, almost always starts with digestion and the digestive system in the gut, and really making sure that, you know, you're as healthy as can be, starting there. It all kind of starts there. So we always work with, okay, you know, what's happening with your digestion, and talk to me about that. And 9 out of 10 times it's always, well, what digestion kind of thing. And then, how long do you have? And I see that all the time. And it's really, really common with any disease, but with autoimmune disease as well. It's the same thing. It's like, okay, we're going to start there. And then, you know, little by little chip away at everything else and get to it. But, you know, the pain, we always want to get people out of pain first. So we work on getting somebody who comes in and, you know, I'm in pain and I'm hurting. You know, no one wants to wait 6 months before they can get out of pain. So hopefully we can work on getting you out of the pain first. And then, you know, we're always at the very beginning starting to support the kidneys, and the digestive system is really important.
Yes. Interesting. I never knew that the kidneys had such a role. Role in every, you know, in all of that.
Again, in Chinese medicine. So in TCM, the kidneys are kind of like the center, the forefront of the body and of health. And it's kind of the kidneys that kind of, you know, balance out the other networks of organs, paired organs. So we call it the kidney bladder network, where that's kind of where we start. And then, you know, everything else is kind of built upon that. But the kidneys are kind of primary in Chinese medicine.
Yes. It's so interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So the biggest takeaway, obviously, in terms of action, right? Things that people can do now that, you know, when it comes to supporting the treatment of an autoimmune disease, it's looking at the diet, looking at the gut health, looking at what's agreeing, what's not agreeing. And I think it was last week we talked more about nutrition. So tune into last week's conversation for more details. We don't have to, beat a dead horse with all of that.
Right.
And I think for a lot of people that I've worked with and talked to that have like fibromyalgia, that's one that, you know,
that's big. That's a big one.
Constantly, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were, I think, feeling very helpless, like feeling very much like, well, I tried this, I tried that, you know, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Are they destined for pain their whole life?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think we have to look at too, are there other things going on, right? So is it just fibromyalgia? Is it just chronic fatigue? I mean, those two things are tough to deal with in and of itself, but is there something else happening? You know, kind of have to take that into play. You know, what's again, and it's kind of like the whole thing. What's your stress level? What's your emotional level? What's your sleep pattern? Are you sleeping? Like a lot of people don't sleep, and that's the most important thing. Even before exercise, I believe sleep for everybody is key, because your body needs that time to rejuvenate and to replenish itself and to, you know, get ready for the next day. And so a lot of things happen while we're sleeping at night. For example, our good cholesterol is made at night when we're sleeping. So, you know, the liver is between 2 and 3 in the morning. The lungs are between 3 and 5 in the morning. you know, people are up pretty much between those two times, the liver and the lung. You know, like I have a lot of my patients will be like, I don't know, I'm up at like 2 a.m. every night. What does that mean? You know, 1 to 3 is the liver. So you're up at the liver time. The liver makes good cholesterol at night. You know, the liver also stores anger and frustration. So people get up in the morning and, you know, what do? They haven't slept all night. They're running like crazy. They're drinking a lot of coffee to kind of stay awake, but it's that anxious, you know, jittery kind of energy because they're tired.
Yes.
You know, and so that, you know, that too plays a big role in like, how's your body going to heal and get better when you're not unable to sleep. And then, you know, maybe the diet's a little bit off, or you're really stressed out. And especially during this time, it's tough.
Yes. And sleep was another one that we got into this month. So definitely another one for everybody to go and revisit. And some of the big things that we had with that too was just trying to make yourself as comfortable as possible before you go down. What is it that's keeping you up? Are there adjustments you can make in the way that you're sleeping or positioning yourself? Or is it, you need a new mattress, right? Do you need, you know, whatever, that kind of thing. And then, and also rest. The fact that sleep is so important. If you're not getting enough sleep, is your body getting enough rest? Right? Where are you going to get that in otherwise? Because I don't think that's something that we usually think about. We think about those hours at night, and we don't think about it, you know, throughout the rest of the day. And
a lot of times too, people say, "Oh, I'm just going to try to lie down for an hour, a half hour during the day," and you can't like shut off your mind. So it's really important. And what I find at night for me is if I can't sleep at night, I love tapping.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about that a few weeks ago.
We did.
About tapping, and I don't know if we mentioned.
Are they the same points as the one that you showed us?
Yeah, and I don't know if I had mentioned that it's really good for sleep too, but if someone's kind of anxious, you can't turn it off, and you're, you know, lying in bed thinking, what can I do? Tap. Just lie there, and, you know, it's great. It's very effective.
That's awesome. Oh my God, I love it. Yeah. I keep meaning to go back to that one and watching that too. Oh, Sandy says, I'm usually at between 3 and 5, the witching hours. Yes. Is that, that's lungs, you said?
That's the lung time. 3 to 5 is the lung time. Yeah.
So she's asking, what do I do to help my lungs?
Well, you know, I mean, so it's hard to say, kind of give an answer,
of course,
from afar, because, you know, there's other things involved with, you know, feeling the pulse and what else is going on, and looking at the tongue, and, you know, getting kind of an intake as to, you know, seeing her and seeing what's actually happening, and getting a proper assessment. So it's hard to say. But yes, you are waking up between the hours of the lung time when the lungs are kind of active. And so your body actually wants to be sleeping to help replenish itself during that time. But, you know, I would ask to take a look at what's your emotional state at that time. You know, what are you feeling at that time? Because the lungs store sadness, which can lead to anxiety. And so, you know, I always like to kind of tie in like the emotional aspect of it too, and see, you know, what are you feeling at that time? And then maybe just right now, I would say, you know, if you haven't looked at the tapping session, maybe go back and look at a little bit of the tapping, and just start doing a little bit of tapping, just to kind of relax your mind, kind of feel like you're doing something, you're kind of being proactive. And once you do it and get into a little bit of a routine, you'll see like, oh yeah, okay, I feel good. This is kind of helping to calm down my mind.
Awesome. I love it. You know what? I'm going to link back those other videos to this one, because we refer to so many. You know, we went back to a lot of the stuff that we've talked about. So I'll link those in here. That's so helpful. That's so helpful, because I don't think, you know, when we think about waking up at the same time, you know, it's, because I have to go to the bathroom, or because I'm anxious, or this or that, or blah, 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 or whatever. But, and I know breathing is always something that I, you know, will tell clients to do sometimes, you know, deep breathing or progressive muscle relaxation, or, you know, whatever, things like that. But I love the idea of adding the tapping in too. And because last night we talked about some of the essential oils and supplements and stuff to help with sleep as well. Dana, I know you use CBD for sleep as well, right?
I do. And I have to say, Alyssa, it has been an absolute godsend for me across the board. I take it every night, and I sleep I sleep all the way through. If I have to get up to go to the bathroom, it's like one time and I go back and I'm like, I don't even realize I got up, and I'm like, I'm out again. It's amazing. It's fantastic.
Awesome.
I would highly recommend that. But for anyone and everyone out there, be careful with what you're taking, where you're getting it from. Like anything else, not all 2 products are the same. So really, I think we're going to maybe talk about that too, Alyssa, at some point. You know, what do you look for? What's good out there, and what's kind of to stay away from, because there's so many products out there now. So it's really important to take something that's, effective and good product.
Totally. That's huge. That's huge.
Yeah.
We didn't get into last night with the essential oils, but any product in general that you're using, it just needs to be, the right quality. Like it absolutely does. That's so essential. Oh, great. There's some, my mom uses the tapping solution is an app. So if anybody wants an app for tapping, the tapping solution. And there's another one somebody had recommended too. Let's see if I can find it really easily. I think it's just called tapping, it's the tapping solution. I have the same one. That's hilarious. You can tell I haven't used it before.
That's hilarious.
But that's great. All right, perfect. Well, I think we got into a lot here. We give a lot of great tips. Obviously, everybody has their homework. Go back and watch some of those earlier episodes that we've done, which I'll link to in here. But when it comes to autoimmune disease, there are different systems of your body at play. There are different things that are happening. Some things that we've talked about that are very important for your healing process is your digestion, so your gut health.
Yes.
We're talking about stress management, your sleep habits, and there could be a number of other things, but at least starting there, making sure, again, like we've talked about before, that foundation of health is kind of there. Get your body in a place where it can really start to heal and be healthy. Focus, and addressing that pain too, because while the body is in a heightened sense of stress and pain, it's not going to be able to do what it has to do. So looking at some of those emotional components that we've talked about, I feel like this is like a wrap up for the month, because it really is pulling everything together.
It's like we're pulling it all together and saying, okay, we really can't, at the end of the day, separate any of it. We have to keep in mind, okay, there's so many different components. And I think that's where we all kind of go like, oh my God, like there's so much to think about. Where do I even begin?
Yes.
So like diet and what to eat, and then supplements and what to take and exercise and all this stuff. But, little by little, taking all these little baby steps and getting all these kind of ideas in your head. And then once you kind of start to just think about it, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to maybe try that tonight, or I'm going to look into that. And then, things come together, because it is really a mixed bag of stuff to kind of tie it all together and be, effective in what is, going on for each of us.
Yes. Oh my God, absolutely. And to take that a step further too, over time, just by doing something, you're going to make a really big impact down the line, because all the little things that you do when you start to just piece together, starting with going to bed a little bit earlier, or making some adjustments to what you're eating, or maybe it's a supplement that's been recommended to you, or whatever it is, doing those little things. Because the other thing that's going to start to shift is your mindset around your pain. Because you're going to see these little rewards, you're going to see these little successes, and it's going to give you something to build on. And that's really important, because right now, if you're coming into this defeated, feeling like I've tried all of this, I've done that before, this and that, or whatever, that's the result that you're going to get, right? You're going to, you're going to come up short always. So
and it's hard to change your mindset sometimes when you don't feel good, right? I mean, we all been there where we're like, oh my God, if somebody tells me one more time to like change, but it's, but it's true, like, oh, I don't want to hear it. I just feel like crap and I don't feel good and whatever. So, and also the one of the other reasons I just want to point out real quick, I know we're probably wrapping up, but with gut health too, a lot of our neurotransmitters are actually produced in our gut, right? So like serotonin and so the neurotransmitters are produced in our gut as well, where we think a lot of them and most of them are produced in our brain. A lot of them are produced in the gut.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so important too. And getting, you know, I have a lot of my patients that say, well, you know, I tried probiotics, and what kind of probiotics should I take? And again, you know, there's good ones and there's not so good ones. There's ones to, you know, give a shot. There's ones to stay away from. So all these things kind of come into play and, you know, make it a little challenging. But then once you get, you know, some good information, you can make information and decisions for yourself too, with some help from people who can guide you. So it's, that's what I found for myself.
That's what I found for myself too. I think that's very important. And I think that a lot of people, you know, sometimes get stuck in the mindset too of thinking they can do it with their own research, or they want to you know, do it themselves and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And you kind of go down the Google rabbit hole, right, of reading all of this stuff.
Totally.
Or whatever. You know, I just say, like, save yourself the time, save yourself the effort, you know, and the pain and the suffering, and just, you know, find somebody that you trust, that you're open up to doing, even if it's just like a consultation. Try a bunch of people out. See who you like, see who has the same philosophies as you, see who talks to you like a person, see who asks you the right questions, you know?
Totally.
Yeah, because that's going to make just such a difference in the long run, instead of, again, trying to do it all yourself, or trying to kind of cut corners, you know, or get your pride get in the way. Like, you should, like, that happened to me. Like, you know, I should be able to fix this myself. I should be able to heal myself, you know, like, no, I need help like everybody else does, you know, like we all do, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And I mean, I've been there 1,000 times where I'm like, you know, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And I'm like, you know what? I need help. I need to go and find, and when you do, it's the biggest relief, right? It's like, oh, I connect to this person. I feel good. I feel confident. I feel like I'm, you know, she's trustworthy or he's trustworthy. And you have that support. Everyone needs, we all need that.
Yes. And I think we've talked about this before too, the fact that if you're invested in your caregivers and your physicians and providers, whatever, if you trust them, then your chances of a positive outcome are statistically significantly higher, you know, like just your belief that so that's why having that support, like you're saying, is really, really so important, in that trust. And we could go on and on, so I'm going to shut myself up right now. But everybody, this has been a really fantastic series. We do have one more on Monday night. We're going to be talking about healing emotional pain with essential oils and how those help to support that.
Good one.
Yes. And then next week, Integrative Wellness Rhode Island is closing for the week. Going on vacation. I don't know. It's a little staycation, a little go to the beach. I don't know, whatever.
That's okay. Those are great.
It'll be something. But so with that being said, the week after the 4th, make sure you're looking out for our next series. It's going to be on gut health. And if you recall, a lot of our conversations this month have been around gut health. So everything kind of starts there. We kind of couldn't have planned it better, right? Starting with chronic pain, talking about that, and then moving into the gut, because there's definitely a lot to take from there and to move
Absolutely. And it seems like every week the gut comes up somewhere along the way, right? Because it's always it's there. And that's the biggest kind of thing. That's the obstacle is getting everybody's gut in good health, and that's kind of where it begins. So it was good. This was good.
Definitely. Well, everybody, we're always here for any questions. So thank you so much for tuning in today, and please like the video, share the video. Oh, Sandy says these lives have been so helpful. Thank you. Oh, thanks. Enjoy my week off. Woo woo. Yeah. And Sandy, you are going to love that one. I think everybody is.
Yes.
Very good. Well, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.
Okay. Enjoy your vacation.
Thanks,
everyone. All right. Bye-bye, Alyssa.